Hey guys, welcome back to Triple Threat, an Unrivaled podcast where we talk all things Unrivaled and the new season. I'm your host, Abby Harvey, with my co-host Isaac Wolf. And we had our first full weekend of 8 games. We have a lot to get to today, which also included 4 Unrivaled records broken this past weekend, which is crazy in the first weekend of full games. And that was highlighted by Dearica Hamby set a single game scoring record with 40 points, and we'll get to that game later. Sanaya Rivers set a new blocks record with 7 blocks in a single game. And then Brittany Sykes set a new steals record with 5 steals in a game, which was also tied by Sug Sutton as well. So 4 records. Off to a good start.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of those. Obviously, it's a young league, and so records are going to be broken quite frequently here, and especially with the talent that's in the league this year, I expect that to happen quite frequently. I'm not going to be surprised if someone tops Hamby in the scoring column
There's
this
been a
year.
lot of people that are close too. A
Yes,
lot
yeah.
of like 36, 38s.
hmm Yeah, so we'll start with Friday's games. Vinyl and Rose played against each other. And the Vinyl in this one did not have Brittany Griner. I felt like I mentioned this a little bit last week. I felt like they weren't as set up for success in this sort of format because of their size. With Griner and Hamby in the post, I think Hamby can run the floor a lot better than Griner can, of course. But it felt like their fastest lineup was when they had Howard, Wheeler, and Burrell out there together. But other than that, I felt like they slowed the game down. They actually slowed the game down a little bit in this one. They got more paint touches, which is what they wanted, and that's better suited for their roster. Howard, despite that, had a great game. Like she operated at all 3 levels, 28 points, 10 of 16 from the floor, 6 of 11 from outside. The Rose, they made a push at the end of the third quarter. Hamby was sitting due to foul trouble at that point in the game. But the end of this game was awesome. I
It
mean, the
was. It
Rose,
was so
the Rose were
exciting.
down 4, and Chelsea Gray forces a turnover, quickly gets the 3 on the other end, and then Courtney Williams misses a mid-range pull-up that would have won it because Vinyl were 2 off of the um, target score, and then Gray responds with a very tough shot from downtown to hit the target score of 69 and win 69-67. And so they went from down 4 to up 2 really quick,
And that
and
was
great
the
plays left
only
and right.
time they led the entire game. Like they
hmm
did not have a lead literally the entire time until
Yeah.
Chelsea Gray won the game.
Yes. Second game, actually, I'll go through the box score real quick. Gray in that one had 23 on 7 of 15. Shakira Austin had a double double, 14 points, 10 rebounds. Azura Stevens, 13 points and 7 rebounds. Lexi Hall added 9. Sug Sutton added 10 as well. And then on the vinyl side, Dearica Hamby, 19 and 11. Ray Burrell added 13 as well.
I think
And then,
also to add to Lexi Hull, I know she only had 9 points, but I mean obviously we've watched her a lot watching the Fever and in the WNBA she's known for her defense, but she was able to get her team so many second chance shots like on both sides of the floor, getting defensive boards and then getting second chance on the offensive side. And I think although she only had 9 points, she's not going to be your high scorer every game, but her defense is so pesky and she just never goes away. Like she is
yeah,
one that gives 120% every time the ball's loose, and I love watching her play defense.
yeah, she's a fantastic role player in that
Mhm.
3 and D slot. Let's move on to the Breeze and the Hive, the 2 newbies in the
Yes,
league this
two
year.
new teams, two young teams too.
Yes, and Breeze kind of had control of this the entire way.
Mhm.
The game broke open in the second quarter with a 14-0 run by the Breeze, and I like to see the chemistry developing between Rakia Jackson and Cameron Brink. Obviously, Brink missed a lot of last season with like, recovering from her torn ACL, and Jackson just coming into the league. She's a very talented player, and seeing those two, I think there was a play specifically I remember Brink was on the post up, and Jackson dove. Brink hit her on the cut, and she got a layup out of it. And so those two getting to play together is really cool to see because those are 2 building blocks for the Sparks' future. And so it's always interesting. We see teammates playing against each other sometimes in this league, quite often in this league, but to see those two playing together, those two youngs playing together, I think it's going to be really good for them. And this is good for Brink, especially to get back in the flow of things. She wasn't really herself in those last few games of the season that she was available. But 14 points in 9.5 minutes. And this one, she was very efficient, 5 of 8 from the field. The other thing that I took away from this game on the Breeze side is Beckers and Malonga operating in the pick and roll is is really fun to watch.
Hmm.
Malonga's developing and she's developing really quickly. I think I mentioned it last week how it took her some time to even find her spot in the rotation in Seattle in her rookie year. And now she's operating with Beckers, who is just a maestro in the pick and roll, can score out of it at any level, and is a very good passer out of it too. And Malonga's getting that polish in terms of finishing off those catches from Beckers in the pick and roll. She had 15 and 13 in this one. The efficiency wasn't there. She was 5 of 13. But that will come with time. And I like those two, playing kind of a two-man game in this sort of setting. Because Paige is just a great operator and a really good point guard for her. And they're both young, so they're both learning. So
Yep. This was also the game looking at the Hive side of things where Sinai Rivers had 6 blocks, and she's just someone who's also developing. I think that's kind of the story with the Hive, and it's going to be until they figure things out. But I think for them to have a future in the win column, they're going to have to figure out how to run through Kelsey Mitchell, like you talked about last weekend or last
yes.
week. She's going to be someone who's going to have a lot of success in this league with her speed. I mean, she can beat literally anyone up and down the court. So I think if they figure out how to use her offense and speed to carry them, she had 14 points, was 7 for 11. She only had one steal, which is also odd for her, but I don't know. I think Kelsey Mitchell, they need to figure out a way to work through her, but also on this game, both teams shot a combined 1 for 26 from three.
Yeah.
Like it was
Yes.
so bad from three. Kate Martin hit the lone three, but
Mhm.
both teams just couldn't get one to fall.
Yeah, and I think for Kelsey, that's another thing that typically she's pretty aggressive from outside, and she only
Yep.
took three. Perhaps that was just the trend of the game. Everybody was missing, so no one felt good taking a shot from out there because sometimes, well, oftentimes shooting is contagious. So maybe we'll see a little bit more aggressiveness from outside. But yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a box score like that
No,
where two
yeah.
teams combined for one make. Maybe in like high school or something, but
Yeah.
that was that was certainly unique.
I mean, the end of this game was good. I feel like Breeze, had to hit that target score. We're only looking for one bucket, and the Hive had really good defense late in the game.
Mhm.
And even the broadcasters were talking about like, where's this defense been these past few games? So if they can do that and play kind of how they did towards like the last 2 possessions, 3 possessions, I think that could be a highlight for them. Even though they lost, I think their defense kind of shined through there at the end.
Yeah, they'll be able to defend their way to a win. I think the biggest thing in these formats is sometimes you're caught sleeping and you don't lock in until your opponent's almost at the target score. And then you
Yeah.
look really good because you're trying really hard, but it's also sometimes unrealistic to keep that up for a full
Yeah.
game.
Next game, looking at Lunar Owls and Phantom. The This was another record I didn't mention earlier. So the Phantom actually tied an unrivaled single game scoring record with 94 points. Very high scoring game for them. They won 94 to 60. Aaliyah Boston had a great game with 21. Kelsey Plum, another game that was great for her, 38 points. We talked about those high scoring games. So she was almost at that 40-point game, but the Phantom shot insane from three. They shot 54%. And I mean, the Lunar Owls, the story is right now they have to figure out how to get something else going besides Aaliyah Edwards and Marina Mabrey. Um, that's just kind of what they're rolling with right now, which obviously Marina Mabrey's playing really good for her, like herself right now. She had 32 points in this game, shot 45% from three as well, had 6 rebounds and 7 assists, but the Lunar Owls with not many other people scoring often.
Well, it's not just that, it's the fact that they only have five.
Yeah.
Diggins isn't playing, and obviously Collier's out. We know that. So
Yep.
the Allen 2 points, Banham 5, Fagbenle 8. And when the rest of your team combines for 15 points, when the other two combine for 35,
Yeah.
there's only so much you can um or excuse me, 45, I should say, 45 between Edwards and Mabry. There's only so much you can do. So I don't know. when Diggins is coming back, if that's happening anytime soon? I haven't heard anything about.
She mentioned, or one of the broadcasters mentioned maybe coming back soon. She had a lower leg extremity injury of some sort, but they said sooner rather than later. Not sure what that means.
Yeah,
But
there's no time when there's no timetable given, it's usually a
yeah.
long-term thing. So
Yeah.
maybe they'll find one of those six practice players to replace her, if they determine that it's like a, season length injury or an extended
Yeah.
outing. But I mean, obviously with your two best players down, there's only so much you can do in a 3-on-3 format. So
But I will say
they're kind of in a
Marina
tough position.
Marina Mabrey is playing very good.
Oh yeah,
She's playing very good, and the way she's involving Aaliyah Edwards, which is also good because they played a little bit together this past summer. So getting to play again, I think looking at the other side of things with the Phantom, I really liked the double big lineup with Finn and Boston working with Kelsey Plum. I think that they were able to move the ball really well. They had 23 assists versus the Owls 10. So I think they had way better ball movement this game than their previous games, which is why they're in the win column now. But I really liked that lineup of Finn and Boston with Plum.
yeah, and I mean you could see it. The fruit in the box score. Plum had 11 assists on top
Mm.
of her 38 points, so she was just productive in every aspect offensively.
Yep. Moving on, game 4 of 8, Laces missed. The missed won 83-81. Another crazy ending of a game. Neither team could get a bucket at the end. Like it was back and forth. I don't even know how many possessions it was, but it was back and forth for a while. Um, Alyssa Thomas almost had a triple double, but no surprise there. That's kind of her bread and butter.
Right.
The missed shot really good from three, 45%. And another, I know we talked about it last week, but the missed, I felt like last week when I said they had a very selfless game, I think they had another one of those games. They had 23 assists versus the miss 11 or Laces 11. Um, yeah, not much else.
Yeah, that's a product of the way Alyssa Thomas plays.
Yeah.
Is she's super unselfish, and then obviously I was talking about last week. She's just this hub at the high post where she can get girls to just cut open. And obviously, if Thomas drives, gets into a little bit of a Barkley post up down low, defense collapses. There's kickouts. So there's all sorts of offensive opportunities in this format when Alyssa Thomas is your main player, and obviously you have a very well-rounded offensive player in Jackie Young too. So
Yeah. I think with the Laces having Alyssa Thomas and Jackie Young together, and then with how hot Sykes is playing, that's almost a cheat code. I don't know. They're not, I feel like they're not, obviously they didn't win this game, and I feel like they're not performing to their potential. But those three, I feel like, I think I'm going to get to it later in my hot take, but I really like the way the Laces are playing right now, even though they didn't win this game.
on Sunday we had Rose and Breeze, and I know this is the matchup you were looking forward to,
Oh, yeah.
that we talked about or previewed almost last week,
Hmm.
and it lived up to the hype. It
It
really did.
did. It was a very
Um,
exciting game.
Chelsea Gray, another in just fantastic game. 37 points, shot lights out, 7 of 9 from three. Paige had a near triple double. I think it was 15, 9, and 10.
Yep.
And the Breeze at one point were down seven in the third, but they had a quick 8-0 spurt to bring the game back, a pair of threes, and then another bucket. But um, the Rose just made plays to win the game
Hmm.
towards down the stretch. Gray, Hall, and Austin each made a key play. Gray had 5 points in a row, and then Hall hit a big three to cut the lead to one, and
Yep.
then or excuse me, not the lead, the target score, the deficit to the target score to one, and then Austin had a putback off the Gray miss to win it. So very well-rounded performance, and Gray just she's easy to play for. She just rallies everyone around her, and everybody's kind of like following her lead. And you saw that there with the other two stepping up, making big plays. Because Hull, until that last shot, had only been 2 of 7 from the field, and it was her first make from downtown. She was 0 of 5 from three up until that point. So the confidence to hit that shot was big. And obviously, Austin working on the boards. Gray forced a couple tough looks towards the end of that one, just trying to play hero ball. But
Yeah.
Austin cleaned it up on that final play.
Yeah. Going along with Chelsea Gray again, she in this game with her 37 points became the all-time unrivaled scoring leader, which passed Fee, which is also crazy to think. Like Chelsea Gray's had some high-scoring games already this season, and to think that Fee had already had that many points last season is just crazy. So it's sad we're not getting to watch her this year. But
Yeah.
yeah, this game definitely lived up to the hype. I think all the big names did their thing. I think adding to what I said earlier about Lexi Hull, I think she was a game changer in this game. Had 4 steals, was able to do a lot defensively. Um, I think Rakia Jackson, she played really well. She shot pretty well from three. I think she was 4 of 6. Dominique Malonga had 20. So everyone, it was a really fun game of basketball to watch. It was back and forth, and obviously Rose came out on top. They're just working really well together. And a lot of returners from last season, obviously the returning champs. So it was very fun to watch.
Yeah, Malunga and Jackson each with 20. And, those are I mean, I'm watching this Breeze team more than the others just because of the youth and the development I want to see
Mhm.
from all of them. Brink had 12, another efficient 4-6 game off the bench. So 2 of 3 from downtown as well.
Yep. Both teams shot well from three. Rose shot
Hmm.
almost 44% and Bree shot almost 47%. So fun game to watch. The turnovers I kind of highlighted. It was a heavy turnover game. Rose had 7 and Breeze had 12. So
Yeah.
could have changed the game a little bit, but moving on, game six, Hive and Vinyl. This was Hamby's 40-piece game. So obviously a really fun game to watch. Vinyl ended up winning 89 to 66. Another tough game for the Hive, but Sonia Citron had 17 points. Um, Kelsey Mitchell had 15. They honestly spread out their scoring pretty well, I think. Um, they had multiple people in double figures, but wasn't able to compete with Dearica Hamby putting down 40 points.
Yeah, one of the box score oddities in this one, Howard had yes, 18 points on 6 of 8 from three, but she was 6 of 14 from the field, which means she was 0 of 6 from two. So all of her work was done on the outside. Hamby took care of the inside,
Mhm.
and Vinyl really had no issue moving past the Hive.
Yeah, Ryan Howard is dangerous. When she sees a three in, she goes 0 to 100. It's she
Hmm.
like can't miss a three after that. But another thing I saw that was kind of interesting was Sonia Citron's usually pretty good from three. She finally saw her first three of Unrivaled go in this game towards the very end. So I'm hoping that'll get some things going for her. She kind of had a reaction like, oh, finally like one win in. So hopefully that leads to her ball getting rolling from beyond the arc. This is another game that the Vinyl shot really well from three. They shot 65% almost, which is crazy from three. Obviously, that goes into Ryan Howard, but Kelsey Mitchell had 13 of her 15 points in the first half. Obviously, she played really well at the beginning, and I think it could have been different if she had another second half like her first half. But with her pace, I don't know if that's possible to play that well this whole game, but Hamby with that double double with 40 and 10. She had 45% of the vinyl points, which is just insane. Two more games to look at. We got Mist and Phantom. Phantom ended up winning 64-61. Another really close game. I was excited for this game because I think both teams kind of have been playing similar and haven't kind of reached their full potential, but both teams, I think Phantom is kind of getting the ball rolling here. Stewie had 17. Kelsey Plum hit the game winner, and she had 19. So I think both teams did pretty well of spreading their offense out. Lots of people in double figures. Kiki
Hmm.
Ariafin had a great game. She had 19 points and 7 rebounds. Um, it was a very quick game. I think both teams play with a lot of speed, so that was entertaining to watch.
Yeah, these are two of the I would argue that these are the two like deepest rosters, top to bottom, just pure
Mhm.
talent wise. I mean, you got Enrique Ogunbowale coming off the bench on one
Yeah,
side,
exactly.
and so a lot of talent in this game, a lot of stars playing well, and double double from Boston. Low efficiency overall. Stewart was 7 of 20, Plum was 8 of 18, Iriafen was 8 of 19. So you probably give credit to the defense at that point when it's that much talent on the floor.
Yeah. I think both teams, when they play other opponents, they both try to speed up the other teams, but when they play each other, I think they're both trying to speed each other up.
Mm,
And so it felt like both teams just weren't playing their own game because they were trying to just not play how they've been playing against other teams. I think it came down to what team has bigs who can run the court more efficiently. In my mind, that's how I thought of it. But I think Boston is aggressive. She obviously didn't have a bunch going for her offensively, but um, she's a very aggressive player getting the rebounds. So
mhm.
we know that. But
One more game,
one more game.
and that is the Laces and the Lunar Owls. Not a whole lot to talk about with this one. Honestly, the biggest thing I took away was once again the carry job by Edwards and Mabry.
This
Edwards
one was
had,
even more insane.
yes,
This one was
Edwards
crazy.
had 38 and 13 on 16 of 19. She missed three shots the entire night.
Yeah.
And Mabry added 26. And so they combined for 64 of the Lunar Owls'
72.
72 points.
That's
Allen had
89% of their
Allen
points.
had three, Banham had three, and Benley had two. Everybody else made one shot. The others, I mean,
That's
they did all
crazy.
they could. They did all they could.
Both of them weren't really missing often. So I mean, give it to the hot hands.
Yeah.
Um, I think Owls, this is kind of the closest game they've played. They've obviously been struggling. We talked about that because they're missing their two best players, but it was their 15 turnovers that I think cost them. They couldn't really take care of the ball.
That'll do it.
And the Laces only had three turnovers. So if you're giving the Laces, I mean, I've talked about this. They also have a deep roster, and I think I mean, Maddie Siegrist came off the bench with 15 points.
That's what I
They're
was going to
playing
shout out.
good. And if you give the Laces that many extra looks, like obviously they're gonna cash in at some point.
Hmm. Yeah, I was going to mention Seegers too. Very efficient, 5 of 9, 3 of 6 from three, 13 big points in just 9 minutes off the bench.
Yeah. Brittany Sykes, another good game. I think she's a little bit underrated in this league. She's kind of just quietly putting up 25, 20 points a game. So she'll be more fun to watch down the road. And now we have a new part of our little episode. We have three things we're gonna do at the end of each episode. So it'll be favorite play of the weekend, standout player of the weekend, and then our hot take going into the next weekend. Because each weekend now will have 8 games, so lots to
Hmm.
cover. You want to go
Yes.
first with your favorite play, or you want me to?
My favorite play, I actually already mentioned it. It's more of a sequence. It's what happened at the end of that Vinyl Rose game.
Oh, that
Um,
was mine.
yeah, Rose down four, and then Gray forces the turnover, hits the three. Williams misses, and Gray hits the three.
Yeah.
So just those back-to-back big plays on both ends from Chelsea Gray to kind of pull off that improbable, very quick turnaround. I mean, games can turn around like that
Yep.
in this format. So to go from down four to up two in three possessions was, well,
Mhm.
four if you count the first defensive possession was pretty insane.
Yeah, that was my favorite play of the weekend. I think that was electric. Like not having the lead literally the entire game and winning on an iconic shot from Chelsea Gray. I mean, she's playing lights out, so I
Yeah.
feel like that had to have been a favorite play of the weekend. Moving on, standout player of the weekend. Mine has to go to Dearica Hamby. She had a 19-point game and a 40-point game, shot really well both games, double-double in both games, setting unrivaled single scoring game records. Just she's playing really well.
Yep, mine that's certainly kind of the headliner with the 40 ball.
Yep.
Mine's Chelsea Gray. Um, with that sequence that we just talked about, and then 37 points in the next game. She's averaging 31 points per game so far through the first three games. So she's just my standout player of the week, and so low key of the season so far, just because her ability just to will her team to a win when her roster, at the end of the day, her roster top to bottom is nowhere near the most talented. She does
Mhm.
not have the best players surrounding her. No, like offense, obviously Hall and Austin and Stevens all play and Sutton all play big roles. Kalia Copper, I mean, she's DNP right now, but maybe we'll get back. Excuse me, get her back soon. But um, yeah, the way she's just willing her team to wins and everybody's just kind of following her lead. That's the sign of a great leader. And so Chelsea Gray is my standout player of the week.
My honorable mention was Marina Mabrey. It's kind of tough because the
Fair.
team's not doing great, but she's
Right.
she's doing all she can do.
Yes, yes, for sure.
Our final little segment is hot take heading into the next weekend.
I thought a lot about this one,
Me too.
and I kind of because there's a lot of different ways you can go with this. You can go with
Yep.
an individual, you can go with a team, you can go with a certain matchup. I want to show some love to the Lunar Owls and say they get their first win of the season against the Vinyl on Monday.
Hmm.
I think they'll drop their first game. Forget who they're playing initially. They play the Mist Saturday. I don't expect them to win that matchup. But on Monday, I think it is winnable. Edwards and Hamby is going to be the matchup to watch there. Obviously, Hamby coming off the 40 ball, Edwards coming off 38 points. How do they match up with each other in the post? Both of these teams might be able to slow it down and get a lot of post entries in this one. Allen can maybe match up with Howard. She's one of the better shot blocking guards we have in the league, and her length and versatility, I think, is a good matchup for Howard. So, if there's any matchup where they get some juice and matchup wise, it works for them. I think this is the one. So I'll say Lunar Owls get their first win on Monday against the Vinyl.
I like that one. I'm kind of going the opposite and saying I think the Laces are going to hand Rose their first loss. I
Mm,
think right now the Laces have been tested. They've played a lot of close games and they've been able to kind of be pesky and resilient and come out on top. And I think Sykes is really hot right now. I think Thomas is playing really good. I mean, she's almost had a triple double in every game so far. Jackie Young is just playing consistent. And I think their speed and their physicality is going to be able to kind of speed up the Roses game.
hmm
And they're shooting really well from three right now. So if they can keep that going, I think that's my hot take. That Rose is going to lose their first game, and I think the Laces is going to hand them their first loss.
That's fair. I think Gray at some point is going to have an off night.
Yep.
And so, maybe that's this weekend, maybe it's later down the road, but she can't she can't keep this pace up this efficiently
Yeah.
for the whole season. So we'll see what happens.
I think that goes along with, like you mentioned, she's not surrounded by these top scorers, and their offense isn't as spread out as other teams. So if she has an off night, you kind of got to rely on some girls who haven't been scoring as much. So it could be a good one to check out. Before we get into the upcoming schedule, a look at the records real quick. Rose, only undefeated team left. They're at 3-0. Breeze, Mist, Phantom, and Laces are all 2-1. So big chunk there in the middle. Vinyl are 1-2, which also shocks me because I feel like they're playing pretty good and they just haven't been able to finish games.
Yeah,
And then Lunar Owl and Hive are 0-3, so both still looking to get in that win column. But we got 8 more games, so obviously going to see some switch up. On Friday, we'll see Laces versus Phantom in game one, and then Rose versus Hive in game two. Saturday, we'll see Mist versus Lunar Owls, and then in game four will be Breeze versus Vinyl. I'm really excited for that game. I think that game will
Mhm.
be good. I think the Vinyl, maybe another hot take. I think Vinyl can win that game.
Oh,
Um,
I
I do.
disagree.
Really?
Yeah,
All right. That's my second hot take. I was gonna put it, but then I decided against it.
yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, then on Sunday we have Rose versus Laces in game one, and then Hive versus Phantom. And then on Monday, finish out with Breeze versus Mist, and then Final and Lunar Owls. Second full weekend. This is a
Looking
lot of
forward to
basketball
it.
games. So
Yeah.
I think by Monday you could tell that it was a quick turnaround, but
hmm
it'll be fun to watch at least.
Yeah, and we'll see how all the teams do coming off their first full weekend, and then they get their first full, what is it, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3 days of rest.
Yep.
So that'll play a factor in because on that first weekend, each of them only played one game. They
Mhm.
kind of got into the rhythm, the feel a little bit, and now they played a full weekend. They get their full 3 days off, and we'll see how they all respond. Because we had some pretty high efficiency games shooting initially. I expect those percentages to dip a little bit this weekend.
Yep. All right. That's all we got for you. Thanks for tuning in to Triple Threat. I'm your host, Abby Harvey with Isaac Wolf, and we'll see you next time.